Hello, my name is Adam from the Sugarland Branch Library. Today we're going to part 2 of our guitar part series, and we're going to discover some new chords. These will involve 4 notes. They're going to be dominant 7th chords, and they're used in a lot of blues, a lot of jazz, and to some extent rock genres. And I hope you enjoy this class. And before we do that, we'll have to tune our guitar. I won't go through the guitar tuning process because I did that in my Guitar Part 1 series. I hope all of you have your digital tuner, or if you don't, just tune your guitar to my frequency, to my guitar strings. We'll start with, get your guitars ready, we'll start with the low E string first. So get your guitars out, and if you don't have a digital tuner, go ahead and just tune your guitar strings to mine. Okay, let's start with the E. E. D string, G, B string, and your last string, the high E. The first chord that we're going to learn is a B minor chord. This involves 4 fingers. I will include the diagram in my video at the bottom, so you'll be able to look at the tablature, and be able to make the guitar finger positions. We start out with number 1, 2nd fret, 1st string, 3rd fret, 2nd string, 4th fret, 3rd finger, and then your pinky, number 4. And this is a minor chord. I'm sure you recognize the B minor chord. It's in one of the Eagles songs, Hotel California. The next chord that we're going to discover is the G major chord, and this is 3 notes. We'll begin with number 1, 2nd fret, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th string, 3rd fret, number 2, finger, and the last, it's a little bit tricky here, number 3, which is number 3 finger, 3rd fret, 6th string. And the trick about this, if you're doing it right, you can slip your index finger right through here. You should be able to insert your finger in here, and that way you know your strings are not muffled. If your strings and your chord is not properly formed, it'll sound muffled like this. But if you're doing it right, insert your finger in here, make sure your finger positions are not touching the other strings, and you should sound very clear. G major. The next chord that we're going to learn involves 4 notes. It's an F major chord. Now, this one's a little bit different because your number 1 finger goes over your 1st fret your first and your second string. It covers these two. This string, the first and your second string. So you form your index finger here. Then you go ahead, second fret, third string, and then third fret, fourth string, and this is your F major chord. Also, F major chord. One of the most prominent bands, the Beatles, yesterday started the introductory chord with F major. The next chord that we're going to learn is a C major chord. And you'll begin first fret, second string, third fret, fourth string, third fret, fifth string. And this is a C major chord. Now we're going to get into the dirty type of nitty-gritty chords, and these are the seventh chords, dominant sevenths. Dominant sevenths always have four notes, and I won't go over the theory, but it's that added seventh that's formed on the chords. The first chord that we're going to discover, it's almost like a C major chord, but form your C major that we just did, and then you put your pinky, and this is your C seventh or C dominant seventh. You can, some people like to call it just a C seventh chord or C dominant seventh. And remember, let's begin. Let's do the C major chord like we did. Second fret, second string, third fret, fourth string, third fret, fifth string, number 3 finger, and then your pinky. And I know it's going to be a little bit difficult, and that's the third string. And this is how your C seventh or C dominant seventh chord should sound. You hear that extra seventh. That's what makes it sound so good, and that's why it's used in a lot of bluesy, a lot of jazz music, and to a lesser extent in rock music. Another chord from the dominant seventh family is the E seventh chord, and that's almost like an E major chord with your seventh, your added seventh. So let's do an E major chord, and I believe I taught my students during Guitar Series Part 1 how to do an E major chord. So let this be a refresher. First fret, first, second, third string, second fret, fifth string, third, second fret, fourth string, and then your pinky, your third, your added seventh. Let's see how this chord sounds. You hear that extra note. The next chord that we're going to discover is the G7th, or the G dominant 7th chord. And this one is only 3 notes, so it's a little bit easier than the E7th chord and the C7th chord that we formed with 4 notes. And to form the G7th chord, you begin by your number 1 finger, number 2, 2nd fret, 5th string, and 3rd fret, 6th string. And this is a G7th or G dominant 7th chord. You hear that extra 7th. The last chord that we're going to learn, and this is one of the most widely used chord, is the B7th chord, or B dominant 7th chord. And to form this is also 4 notes. We'll begin by the 1st fret, 4th string, 2nd fret, 5th string, 2nd fret, 3rd string, 2nd fret, 1st string on your high E. Let's see how the B7th chord sounds. You can tell. The extra 7th. Now that we've done all these chords, I'm going to strum these chords in series so we can practice them. Always remember, practice makes perfect. And the more time you put into your guitar playing, the better you'll be able to switch between each chord. Your guitar will reward you. Let's begin with the first progression from B minor to G major. And I'll just strum downward. G major. B minor. The next progression, F major to C major. The next sequence, C7 to E7, or E dominant 7th. And our last progression is G7 to B7th. If you're doing this right, you'll see grooves on your fingers and you'll build up calluses. G7th to B7th. You can tell that last sequence was a little bit difficult for me, going from the G7 to B7th. But don't get discouraged. Keep on practicing, and practice makes perfect. Thank you for attending this part series, Guitar 2, of my classroom. I hope you stay tuned for the next guitar part series. We'll discover bar chords. Thank you for attending. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.